Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys on some Marvel projects from Sony. But before we get into any of that, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So last night in Las Vegas, Cinemacon took place and Sony had a major presentation. There's going to be a Disney one later this week. And at the Sony presentation, there was a number of Marvel projects that were announced, or we got an update on it. So up first, we have now had it confirmed that Venom 3 is going to be happening. We kind of knew this. I mean, after the success of Venom, and also Venom Let There Be Carnage, it wasn't a huge surprise to see them carry on with it. I mean, we even had that cameo in No Way Home. But yeah, so we don't really know any much more than that. It literally was just like a logo and that it's coming soon. So it's pretty much just confirmation we'll be getting Venom 3. So let's now move on to Into the SpiderVerse sequel. So we had a little bit of an update last week with the release date changing, with the first film set to arrive in cinemas on June the 2nd, 2023. And the second film set to arrive in cinemas on March the 29th, 2024. We've now got a little bit of an update on that third film. It is no longer being called Across the Spider-Verse Part 2. It is now being called Beyond the Spider-Verse. So we've got Into the Spider-Verse is the one we've already seen. But then we're getting Across the Spider-Verse next year. And then Beyond the Spider-Verse the year after. This next movie that's coming out is going to be a big one. It's got loads and loads of characters in. According to them now, there's about 240 characters. They're going to be crossing 6 different universes. And we're going to be seeing more different versions of Spider-Man. So yeah, there's about 1,000 people working on this film. They are really ramping it up. There was about 10 to 15 minutes of the film shown to people at Cinemacon. Now, Cinemacon is generally aimed at cinema owners and chains and stuff. It's more about the theatrical release system. And some of the footage and stuff that was shown, some of it was literally just like sketch work and concept art. It wasn't like fully completed. But now we know some details. I actually think it's a good idea that the films have all got different names, because while it's a little bit confusing, they're a bit close together. It's better than Part 2 when it's actually the third film. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I think this is definitely a good thing with them changing the name. But yeah, so this one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And there was also a brand new film announced, which is going to be based on the Marvel superhero El Muerto, and it's going to be starring Bad Bunny, who is a very well-known Latin American Grammy-winning artist. I know him from WrestleMania 37, where he teamed up with Damian Priest and took on The Miz and John Morrison. So he's got a little bit of wrestling history. I don't quite know if like 1 or 2 appearances, plus he was in the Royal Rumble, is enough, but nevertheless, this is what's going to be happening. The actual character kind of gets some superpowers after putting on a mask, a luchador mask, and to be honest, this character's only been in like 12 comics. It's not very well known. In one of the comic books, ended up having a wrestling match with Spider-Man, which is obviously how Spider-Man kind of started making money before he became Spider-Man. But yeah, so this one is really weird. Definitely looks to the idea of Sony looking to kind of make the most of these characters that are introduced during the Spider-Man comics. But I mean, this one is really obscure. This is just pretty much almost like just picking a page, picking somebody and pulling out. Yeah, this one's a bit odd. Could be really good, but it just continues to water down to me the Sony Spider-Man universe with all these like movies with the villains and stuff without Spider-Man. So that's obviously an issue moving forward. But Bad Bunny could be good. I mean, he's never been in anything before, but you know, he was pretty good at WrestleMania, and he did recently did a short for The Simpsons, so yeah, sounds pretty cool. Now you might be thinking, why am I talking about this on a Disney Plus channel? Now obviously there are a couple of connections through to Disney Plus. First off, it's part of Marvel, and there's such a kind of fine line between what is Sony, what is the Disney MCU, because obviously we've seen it with the variants and all the stuff going on in Spider-Man No Way Home. So there's obviously that kind of thing, but more importantly than that, Disney does have a deal with Sony for the US, where all films from this year through to 2026 will be going on to Disney Plus or on Hulu if it still arrives, or their traditional television networks for its Pay 2 window. So first off, they will be released in cinemas. Then they will go to Netflix for around about 18 months. And then from there, they can then be put either onto Disney Plus or Hulu. Though I'm hoping by 2024, 2025, Hulu's long gone and it's just Disney Plus, but that's nevertheless here. So these movies will eventually turn up on Disney Plus at some point in the future. There was also some other films like Ghostbusters and stuff. All of this kind of thing will eventually all be arriving on Disney Plus or Hulu in the United States. Internationally, a little bit more complicated because there's less deals. But yeah, so there's kind of a connection there, Marvel and with it being Sony, so there is obviously that. But let me know what you think of all of this in the comments below. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in another video. Laters. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow and subscribe. Also a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.